Man, I love Ghost of Tsushima. The impressive immersive world of Tsushima Island, the bloody combat of dismembering limbs, sitting in hot springs, and the feeling of playing in a Akira Kurosawa film right in the palm of your hands. Oh, sorry, I was busy playing the game. For those who don't own a PlayStation or a PC, Ghost of Tsushima is an action-adventure game set during the first Mongolian invasion of Japan. You control a samurai named Jin Sakai as he battles the Mongols, balancing his honor as a samurai and fighting like a ninja. You may think this will lead to a multiple ending path, similar to previous games from the developer, Sucker Punch, and their infamous series. Spoiler alert for those who haven't played it, but the ending is still the same. You're now on the run from the Shogun, and you have disowned your status as a samurai. Big sad. Regardless of the ending, it's still a phenomenal game, especially with its expansion, Iki Island, which takes the game up to 11 with a new enemy type, the Shaman.
The eagle calls to you!
My god, is this a Giga Chat brain move to introduce a new enemy? Oh sorry, I was just playing the game. With all that impressiveness of the world of Tsushima, it makes perfect sense to continue the story. Historically speaking, I said the first Mongolian invasion was the setting for the first game. The second Mongolian invasion, which was bigger by featuring more Mongols, more casualties, and set 7 years after the first invasion, seemed to be the obvious choice. After all, gunpowder was being used. Maybe we could do something like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Fucking hell! My leg, damn it! You idiots!
Instead, Sucker Punch went into a new direction, with a new location and time period. Welcome to Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is a true sequel to Ghost of Tsushima that we've all been waiting for. Sure, we're not gonna get the sequel to Jin that we wanted, but I do understand that Jin's story is complete. Besides, it's nice to do something different for once. Ghost of Yotei is a more simplified tale of revenge, as you control a mercenary named Atsu as she battles the Yotei 6, the samurai group that murder her family. While the story is simpler, the expanded gameplay makes up for it. A larger arsenal, a larger world, a larger set of activities, kitsune,
Curious.
everything we liked about Tsushima, and adding so much more. It's not a casual game like Pokemon, Zelda, or Super Mario Bros. No. Ghost of Tsushima and Yotei require the player to stay focused. Not Dark Souls or Hollow Knight level of focus, but not exactly a walk in the flowers. But we're not here to talk about the game. We're here to talk about the discourse. After my video on Harry Potter, I don't have intentions to make another variant of a lame-ass Boycott, but what happened over the past few weeks made me step out of my comfort zone, because this is unhinged madness.
What the hell's going on over there?
You thought Hogwarts Legacy was a leftist movement? Ghost of Yotei is the complete opposite. While Hogwarts Legacy started with good intentions and sprout out of control, Ghost of Yotei's Boycott is the definition of a bunch of Elon Musks doing salutes. You're not trying to save us from wokeness, you become the opposite of that. You're not trying to save us, you're indoctrinating us. I can sum this up with a quote from the Order.
The one thing you all have in common is, and you're too ignorant to see it, is that you're too inept to get by in the world. So your only recourse is to try and curtail the enjoyment of others.
By curtailing the enjoyment, what Allenberg is referring to is the tactic these anti-woke people use to warn or point signs to the audience of wokeness infesting our favorite entertainment.
I got a ton of backlash from my comments on Yotei, but I still stand by them that modern games are deliberately replacing almost all franchises with female characters over male ones, and when you point this out, you're then gaslighted into believing that you're a liar when you're just noticing patterns.
It's such an awful video that even if we do try to fight against it, they'll never listen. Some people can't be helped by the way. Why then are we talking about Ghost of Yotei, and where does it fit here? Look at the main character. A female. Yes, I love a Mighty Key video on it.
Why do they have to pander to the period people?
But in all seriousness though, a female protagonist is something new in video games. But girl boss. Yeah, Go fuck yourself and continue ranting about Sweet Baby Inc., who is on Blue Sky right now. For those who don't know, and I would rather for you to stay out of it like me, Sweet Baby Inc. can be described as a critic. The writer for one particular game writes something, sends it to the critic offers feedbacks and some revisions, it gets sent to the original writers, and repeat. I won't talk about it because I'll get accused for defending them, but the hatred for them by these Grifters is so overblown that it's honestly an achievement worthy of its own. Back to Yotei. If that tactic doesn't work out on calling Atsu a girl boss, these guys will say that Atsu will replace Jin Sakai as the lead. And I really have to ask, if Ghost of Yotei will be a success like Ghost of Tsushima, and let's not kid ourselves, it looks really promising, what's stopping Sucker Punch from taking the Ghost franchise in a new direction for the third game? Plus, Sucker Punch has experimented with a female protagonist before with Infamous First Light, their previous game before Ghost of Tsushima. Infamous First Light is a prequel to Infamous Second Son, the third game in Sucker Punch's previous franchise before their Ghost of. Infamous First Light stars Abigail Walker, a conduit. Infamous is a depiction of a superpowered individual who is also a drug addict. Look at this, a female character with colored hair, another red flag to the anti-woke people, and yet no one complained about it. Likely, this was because the Gamergate movement was in its early years, and it didn't bother to go after what is essentially an expansion pack, but still, this was a female character, Sucker Punch's first attempt at making her the main character in her own game, and one who should take all the bosses of the rage, yet it didn't for some reason. Abigail from First Light was even considered a much better protagonist than Second Son's protagonist, Delson Rowe, thanks to her being a druggie and having a more interesting backstory than Delson's. Her being played by the popular Laura Bailey also helped. I still preferred Second Son over First Light thanks to better gameplay, but I do think that yes, Abigail Walker is a much better hero than Delson Rowe. Now back to Yotei. Let's stand off with the Grifters and have them do nothing because they're all bark, but no bite.
Oh, that was so close.
I understand how the Grifters are going to defend themselves, but we like these female characters, we just don't want those female characters, and I really gotta question their mindsets by this point. Depending on the game, video game sequels may or may not change the protagonist regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, whatever. It's simply a choice. No one complained about games where you customize your character, although to be fair you could select the male character and that's it, but you could also be the female character. Then they spend the remaining time of the video bitching and moaning about how the female character will be the girl boss of the emasculated male, which lasts for as long as the video can, so it could run for over 10 minutes, which they're not gonna bother doing. Yada 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 woke. I would choose to ignore this, but their response to people criticizing them is interesting. What really caught my interest was that another YouTuber whom I watched, Otterly Noah, didn't cover that another YouTuber, Mighty Keep, revealed DMZ hat with Andy Mayon, who is one of the anti-woke people complain about Atsu being a girl boss. In it, Andy Mayon states that the reason why he's doing his wonderful detective work is that he has such a passion for gaming that activists are gonna ruin it, like Sweet Baby Inc. It wouldn't be so bad if he didn't send out an essay's word of his defense. Mighty Keep presents himself as trying to be honest but blunt, while Andy Mayon is being aggressive, while also deflecting the questions Mighty Keep asks. The TLDR here is that Andy Mayon believes wokeness is affecting games, and he's putting gaming on the right track by warning the public about it, rather than creating games himself. I wonder if Groans had finished his game. But then what Andy Mayon says next really grinded my gears. Mighty Keep asks Andy what he was trying to do was to offer a decent conversation, but stated he was defensive about it. Then Andy says this: Keith, you are slandering me and clearly want me to lose my livelihood.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready?
Ready!
For someone who has a passion in gaming or a sense of journalism, you would have at least know what slandering is. For starters, what Mighty Keith said is not slandering, because as Spider-Man taught us, if it's in print, it's libel. But it's not really libelous either, as what Mighty Keith said is true. Andy Mayon acted defensively, even when Mighty Keith tried to present himself as a person willing to ask him a question. Even when Mighty Keith offered proof, Andy Mayon came off as deflective, which is a common tactic for the anti-woke crowd. If you offer a good point, or some form of evidence that's irrefutable, they would ignore those points and launch back something even more stupid or move the goalposts around so that their claim would be more valid. Remember that South Park episode that featured Cartman as a certain figure that was pulled this month at the time of me making this video? Yeah, it's basically like that. Any normal person would quit Twitter for the day, but in Andy Mayon's case, it's another thing that he could just ignore and continue as if nothing happened. Andy Mayon gets called out a lot whenever he does a bad take, and he could just twist it as being gaslit by them and doubling down on his claim.
When you point this out, you're then gaslighted into believing that you're a liar, but I still stand by them.
It's like playing the victim card.
Play the victim and you will be the victim.
To be frank, it's not just Andy Mayon that does this. Another example that came up just as I was about to write the script was that Smash JT complained about there being no gameplay in Marvel's Wolverine game from Insomniac Games. Mighty Keith, being the Chad that he is, said that there was gameplay, but Smash JT interpreted it as the game having QTEs as gameplay. Back and forth this went until Smash JT brought up ChatGPT to ask it the question of whether QTEs can be counted as finishers. What? You don't use an AI app to ask for your source because it frequently changes the answer. I asked the same question Smash did on ChatGPT for this video, and it gave me a different answer than what ChatGPT said for Smash. It changes the answer. You don't fucking use AI as your source. I'm losing my goddamn, I can't fucking take it. Plus, he asked if a finisher move can be a QTE. Not only did he fail to answer the question, but he also made a hypocritical move by shifting the goalpost when he was called out on it. And then these Grifters bring a Sweet Baby Inc.
Fuck you.
Grifters, put the fries in the bag. That stuff was dead a year and a half ago. But oh yeah, your wife couldn't even cook a turkey well. Thankfully, Smash did correct himself, but that still doesn't excuse the Sweet Baby Inc. stuff or connecting the designers of Concord into this. This is worse than the attempted boycott of Hogwarts Legacy when the boycotters for that game put up a site that tracked streamers for playing the game or refusing to associate with people who experience an ounce of joy from the game. Not for these people. Let's track down Sweet Baby Inc. employees, people who worked on games that were considered woke, or people who just hurt our feelings or said words we didn't want to hear. This should give you an idea of how these people operate. Besides the female main character, Ghost of Yotei was still being hyped up. The official Reddit account's most upvoted post was mocking the Grifters who complain about Atsu being the main protagonist. Glad to know even they won't deal with it. Eventually, the first controversy died down, and we can finally enjoy our Ronin game in peace.
Let me ask you something. If a pregnant woman is killed and the baby dies too, why is the killer charged with a double homicide?
Oh no. Just last month, something happened. Let's just say that an act of political violence happened. It further divided America. Of course, you have those who don't mourn the political figure but don't wish him dead, those on the left celebrating, and those on the right mourning. Personally, I'm gonna stay out of it, but I do find what happened traumatizing. But then the right crossed the line when he started to crack down who celebrated. Let's start with the right, attacking those on the left who cheered at his death. Plenty of teachers, firefighters, military personnel, secret service agents, retail workers, lawyers, journalists, auto security, and office workers were terminated. People were kicked out of their homes, and Jimmy Kimmel was suspended for telling the truth.
He's at the 4th stage of grief. Construction.
Which became viral. So much for free speech. I thought you guys wanted to express yourselves, but now it has become you can't say things I don't like. How does this tie with Ghost of Yotei? Well, look at the main actress for Atsu, Erika Ishii. Erika is known for being a prolific actor across video games and cartoons. Some examples include Cookie Run Kingdom, Dragon Age 4, and Crash Team Rumble. But what do these have in common besides Erika? I wonder, oh yeah, for those out of the loop, Erika Ishii is a queer person who is also gender fluid. Have her voice Nightcap in the Plants vs. Zombies movie. Going by all pronouns, I'm going with she, her for consistency, but Erika is a vocal supporter of trans people and has donated to the Trumpet Project. Good news for those who are trans, bad news for the right-wingers, who were charged for not paying child support.
My problem is that I just get impatient and I want something that I can just kind of tear apart.
Fuck you.
It should come as no surprise that the right hate trans people and view them as indoctrinating your kids. Yada yada, next question. Several right-wing individuals have claimed they were blocked by Erika on Twitter, stating that they had never personally provoked her. I see playing the victim has spread not just to Andy Mayon. Even if they never did anything to provoke her, I still feel like they were kinda overreacting. To be fair though, I don't think blocking people on Twitter is worth it, because nowadays if you block someone, you can still read a person's post, but you can't interact with them. So none of those who complain about being blocked by Erika should complain more. More people left Twitter to join Blue Sky, while others doubled down and stayed on the site. Meanwhile, some individuals began using both sites because they want to reach a broader audience, like yours truly. Aside from her being one of the queers that they so hate, the boycotters brought up an old post from 2020 where Erika mentioned that she's Antifa. Antifa, in the simplest terms, refers to an anti-fascism movement. They were made to counter right-wingers and their actions. Of course, said right-wingers used this post from 5 years ago as a crutch to say that Erika is a terrorist because as of recently, their dear president has labeled them as a terrorist group. Alright, we're gonna stay out of this, but as I said in my Harry Potter boycott video, separate the art from the artist, but now it's a conservative edition. No wait, not edition, the Bible.
Our kids have to understand the role the Bible played in influencing American history.
I'm out of here.
The only major difference I see in this politically motivated boycott is that while those against Hogwarts Legacy offer other suggestions for you to play, boycotters of Ghost of Yotei are like the people who scream at you to quit having fun. It is worse than the Hogwarts Legacy boycott despite being smaller because they are more vocal and aggressive with their tactics. Terms like girl boss, agenda, woke, DEI, and SBI get thrown out a lot that they lost all meaning. I wonder if they hide behind religion as an excuse for their behavior. Of course, expect videos every day made on one particular actor that I'm not gonna bother watching, but aside from that, we still have more things to look up. Oh.
Kidding me?
So, what also happened that month, another act of political violence had occurred. People who celebrated mourn, and had apathy towards what happened began to surface online. Of course, we had the people who mourned being the users that some people follow on social media, some even stood by what they said. There goes another person I'll cover for the next video. You have those who celebrated, justifying it by saying the person who died spread so much misinformation and hate speech, which makes them feel less sympathetic about their death. Then you have those who would rather stay out of this, but like to point out the hypocrisy that what was doing for free speech about the attack, like yours truly. Is this really a free speech nation, or can we only say things our president wants to hear? Either way, it was all for everyone. With celebrations came firings, like I said earlier. Besides Erika, Chee, a developer from Ghost of Yotei was also terminated for posting this joke, which cost her dream job. She mentioned that she was doxxed for this, which is sad, but also scary for someone like her. It's sort of like the boycotts for Mulan 2020, and while Mulan 2020 was a terrible movie, we don't know anything yet at the time for Ghost of Yotei. We interrupt this video for a mid-editing update. This is the editing penguin here. You may know me for taking over the Universal Kids video because I beat my employer in a game of rock, paper, scissors. Anyway, this video was meant to be a side project over my employer's main one, which was Plants vs. Zombies. Watch that video. But I'm here to say that Ghost of Yotei is a phenomenal game, which has much better combat, bounty hunting, cooking food, and the ability to take on the Yotei 6 in any order you want, like Mega Man. It is so addictive that it distracted my employer from PB3 Planet and Dying Light 2. Hey, I said the real Dying Light 2.
My name is Kyle Crane, and I survived the apocalypse.
Perfection. I do have some gripes with the story, but overall, the game is a worthy step up from Ghost of Tsushima. But why a mid-editing update, you'd ask? The people on the left are engaging in their own style of boycott because the developer who was fired was terminated unfairly. Then the right had to lie by outright making up evidence that the game was a flop. Flop. And then Grum shits on the bed again. Glad he got ratioed. As we learn, boycotts like these never work. While we don't have official sales yet, we do know that these grifters love making shit up and playing the victim when they're called out on it. Oh boy, more gaslighting again. But we already have enough libel for one day. Back to the video. Regardless of those boycotters, if what one person did was bad, we gotta take the whole thing down. Guys, she was fired from her job. It really is that simple not to be associated with her. These guys could just remove her from the credits and no one would bother. But nope, to these clowns, you know, maybe gamers like Grunts really are entitled that they justify death threats towards reviewers because after all, they're just baking it with my source that I cannot publicly reveal because he wanted to remain anonymous. Like, people can't just let go. I think Gamergate was never meant to expose corruption in journalism, but rather to install conservative ideologies and confuse teens. As of now, we don't know if the boycotts are going to go the route of spoiling the game, like how the boycotts on the other side of the politics try to do so for Hogwarts Legacy, but if they're going to pinpoint game developers through their LinkedIn account, maybe they're not ready to join game journalism yet. We can't get rid of these grifters. People have tried to report on them in the past, which only brought more hate towards their way, even if the people who did report on them had a point. But let's use their tactics against these grifters. Let's fight fire with fire.
No, you got it backwards.
Grifters. What I'm doing is noticing patterns these grifters use to gaslight you into believing the media is woke, and when they're called out on it, they will play the victim in the situation and use a random answer generator as a source. Ghost of Yotei is one of their recent targets. Because of the agenda these activists are pushing on you, they're already committing slander and have no place in our games. When they get community noted, they reword their statements so their claims are more valid. As the bamboo cutting was found in Tsushima, but not found in Yotei. That's how gaslighting works. Let's end this. Oh wait, we're talking about Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is a fantastic follow-up to PlayStation's biggest surprise of 2020. What many people dismissed as an Assassin's Creed knockoff ended up as Sucker Punch's newest hit after Infamous. Let's hope Ghost of Yotei will be a hit as well, so we can get an anthology of games that feature melee combat. Will they do pirates next? Who knows? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to play Ghost of Yotei on a PS5. Or play it on PC if you have one. Or just subscribe. That too. Time to end your grifting, you little shit.